Tamara Caulder Richardson, and welcome to the Seeking Heaven channel.
Hello and welcome everyone. Today we have an exciting guest for you, but let me introduce myself first. I'm Tamara Caulder Richardson, and I'm your host of the Seeking Heaven channel, which is Seeking Heaven, the near-death experience, and other phenomena. And today we're here to talk about other phenomena. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe so you can make sure you can get all the episodes. And also we're sponsored by the Academy of Divine Wisdom, which is where our wonderful guest is going to be teaching a terrific seminar Saturday, December 3rd at 12 noon Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and that would be on UFO Hotspots. And today I want to introduce Craig Campobasso, and he is an award-winning filmmaker as well as Emmy-nominated casting director. He's also a UFO researcher, UFO experiencer, starseed, former guest on Beyond Belief with George Norrie, as well as the History Channel Ancient Aliens. And recently he's done 7 episodes on the 2nd season of the Travel Channel's UFO Witness. And he has several best-selling books, the UFO Hotspot, Compendium, and the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac, as well as many others. So today he's going to talk to us about, give us a little teaser on some of the things he's going to be talking about the webinar on Saturday, December 3rd. And if you can't come, you can just, if it's $29, if you pay for it, you get all the replays, you get unlimited replays. So you can still participate with actually being there live if you can't join. But he's going to tell us a little bit, some of the things he's going to be discussing, as well as, does Sedona have portals that you can be activated? I don't know. Let's find out. Welcome, Craig.
Hey, how are you?
I don't
know. And the one little thing you forgot is the subtitle to the UFO Hotspot Compendium. All the places to visit before you die or are abducted.
I love that.
That's my favorite.
Funny.
The publisher
my gosh. You're so right. There it is. I'm not doing it justice without saying that. Oh my gosh.
Well, that line right there is my favorite. It was, the publisher came up with that line. And the minute I heard it and everybody hears it, they just smile. Right, because it's so exciting. But let's get right into it. So portals are everywhere, but in areas where there are quartz crystal or deposits of different kinds of crystal or crystalline, like in Sedona, for instance, on Bell Rock, you can see the little pockets of crystal embedded in the red rock. And when this connects with the iron ore and stuff that is in the actual rock, it creates a spark, and that spark creates an energy vortex. So when there is large caches of that, that's when you get it. Now, the first time I visited Bell Rock, which is a male vortex, a psychic vortex, was for the very first harmonic convergence in 1987, I believe, right? Okay. And when I was coming into Sedona by car, there's a point where you go through almost like an energy gate, and all of a sudden you feel the energy go woo, and you yourself all of a sudden say, oh wow, this is some powerful energy. But when you get closer to Bell Rock, or when you go and meditate or go for a walk on Bell Rock or around Bell Rock, you're going to be in that energy. If you really want to heighten your psychic awareness even more, then get a hotel around Bell Rock, so that you're constantly going to be in that energy when you're there. Now, when I left and I was coming home on the plane, for the very first time, I started having visions.
Really?
And those visions were, I would get a click at the back of my neck, and all of a sudden I would see things on my inner eyelids. And the very first thing I saw were 3 goddesses that were identical, with very long, sort of curly hair. And they were sort of dressed as one might think people in Atlantis might be dressed, wearing crystals and beautiful, sparkly, simple dress, right? But dancing to music I had never heard before, and dancing in complete unison, right? So anyway, Sedona is a giant portal vortex. I'll be talking about all of the other portals that are there, but not only about the different portals in Sedona, but also there's one particular place in Sedona that is very mysterious, and it actually has interdimensional windows into other time frames.
Love it.
Yes, and that has actually been caught on camera. So we'll go into a lot of those most amazing things.
I mean, this is a really gift that you are offering to people, because not only in this book, and I'm going to put here, you can see below where you can purchase your own autograph copy of the book, and Craig has other books, which I love. I have several of his books. I have this one. I've got the other series that I have on my Kindle.
Yes, the autobiography of an extraterrestrial saga. That's a 4-part book series. Four parts. There'll be 7 in total.
Okay. And they're phenomenal. I mean, they are, they're written as what? Fiction, but I think they're not fiction. I mean, they're really good.
I leave it up to the reader.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So undefined question. I mean, that's how I was like, wow, this is, I mean, and one thing I have to say for those of you that are new to Craig, well, here he is now for you. That we're presenting on the Seeking Heaven channel, but that his work, this is a lot of your experiences and research and working with MUFON, but a lot of the work, I mean, when I started reading his other stuff, I was like, oh my God, this is channeled, this is accurate. And you probably heard other people say things too. I mean, it was, it actually reading some of it, and I didn't expect this, but I feel like activated me to my memory. I was like,
it does. Yes. Went back in when I was 26 and I had my spiritual awakening. I was working with 3 master teachers, and those teachers actually said to me, they said, we want you to start writing, and we want you to write and write and write until you can write no more. Do not stop. Do not edit. Just listen to the voice and see the visions as they're being projected into your mind. And so I would sit there with a legal pad, and I would just write and write and write. And I really thought, nothing was going to come out. I had no idea what channeling was. I did not know what automatic writing was. I was doing both. And I would write words. They would say a word, and I say, I don't know how to spell that. They would spell it. I would go to the dictionary, look it up, and I would be mind blown, right? And so this is how the autobiography of an extraterrestrial saga books came about. And then, of course, throughout all the rest of my writings and everything as well, is, channeling from that actual power of source, channeling from the heart of the universe, the mind of the universe. And, once you raise yourself spiritually to get to a point where you can join the cosmic community on the mind internet, you reconnect into the cosmic heart and into the cosmic mind, and you have full access to it.
Oh, it's just,
Yeah,
who knew? It's just, well, when I first, I guess about a year ago, and everybody watching, please go back about a year ago. You'll look in the episodes. You can see Craig. I did an interview with him we did the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac, the ultimate guide to raise reptilians, hybrids, and Nordics. We did this one, and we did also a live chat. I was blown away. When I got this on my Kindle and started reading it, I was like, oh my gosh, it just hit me. It was just, I was like, this is real. This is amazing. And
Yeah.
it was so detailed, and the images are beautiful in it. And you're also telling everybody doing a film on the book.
Yes, we're doing the Extraterrestrial Species Almanac, the documentary. So it's going to be an extension of the book. We actually have the real live contactees who have had face-to-face contact. One of the contactees has given us permission to use several of the photos of these beings that he took with a Polaroid camera. And it's just mind-blowing to see that, when you really, if you dig deep enough and you really get far into this, I've been into it for well over 35 years. You meet all of these contactees, you hear their stories, you do, like we were talking about discernment. You and I both have a great amount of discernment as well. Some of these contactees can pull them from the sky for you to see right with your eye by just calling them forward. There's lots of places in the UFO hotspot that can be done as well. But yeah, it's really quite amazing.
Well, I mean, and also in this webinar, you're not just going to talk about just the hot spots, but also your personal experiences, things you have personally witnessed, and even evidence of photographs that you have, as well as others that you've heard of. And even a bigger picture, like what's really happening? What is the whole deal about activating? What is the point of raising our conscious now? Why now? Why are they so interested in us, the ones on Earth? And how does that affect us personally? Because it does. And I think that this is exciting times, because most of what I've heard and what I've looked into, they're positive. They're positive beings. Very few of the so-called negative. I think that's just spread. The negative stuff is spread on, media or what have you, maybe because it sells better. But the positive ones, which, I call our galactic family, are looking out for us. But these different locations in the hot spots are areas really that if someone wanted to make contact, probably is a good place for it.
There is a good place, and in a lot of these places is where actual extraterrestrial contact took place. And we'll be going into some of those areas and talking about it and what the beings look like, that kind of thing. One really cool thing, and I'll give you guys just a little hint, is in the documentary, we do a little bit on an update on the Betty and Barney Hill case. And
cool.
The leader looked different than the rest of the small, typical Zeta human gray looking beings, right? They were positive, so we call them Zeta humans because they're from Zeta Reticuli, right? We don't call them grays. We categorize grays into more of the negative connotation, right? So the leader looked different. He had a larger head. His eyes were Asian shaped, and that they looked like a gecko. And so we hired an amazing artist who for the first time, you are going to see the leader in full dimensional capacity of really what this guy looked like, that Betty Hill actually really liked a lot. And so we do have a little bit of that story. And also in the hotspots, we do go in there where I'm friends with Kathleen Martin, who is Betty's niece, who writes all of the books and things. She has book out, Captured, updated version. We're with the same publisher. And MUFON Books, Red Will Weiser, MUFON Books. And what's interesting is we give you right where you go, so you could do the exact road trip that Betty and Barney were on when the
How cool.
craft stopped them and they saw it. But as I dug into it deeper, and I didn't even get this information from Kathy, was that I didn't realize that Betty Hill had donated everything to the local university, which I have in the book, including her dress that was torn and
Right.
stained with the chemicals that they used on her. And that you can actually go to the university and see these things and see all of the writings and everything that was there. So like that to me would be a great road trip. I would love to do that. That one I haven't done, but I would love to do that when I go back into that area. So
Oh, that would be phenomenal. I know she's been on here a couple times. Kathleen, is it
yes.
Martin? Yeah, she's been here a couple times and talked about the update. And I remember seeing the image that Barney drew of the leader, and then I think wasn't it Stanton Freeman that did a cast of that image? Did he do it?
Betty had a bust done of the leader, right? And so we actually took a 3D image of the bust and then created the actual face, because the bust doesn't do it justice. It just looks like a bust without the humanity behind it, right?
Yeah,
So now you get to see the real humanity. I mean, Kathleen hasn't even seen it yet. She's just going to be blown away when she sees it.
So is it a 3D like computerized thing that you're going to be showing, or what is it?
Well, what we do is we do it. This artist did it sort of. He drew it in 3D, but then our wizards come in and then they ultra 3D it with a background and some movement where you can really get the depth of perception of what this being would look like if you were looking straight into his eyes.
That is amazing, the technology that you can do that. And so she hasn't even seen it, and that's going to be coming out. Wow. Okay. And and the release
next summer or fall. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So everybody, make sure that you see Craig's past episodes as well as, and I'll put here that you can also see, it is episode 119 that Kathleen Barden talks about the Betty and Barney and the updated, information, and to see that's like a big deal. I mean, hopefully that's a big deal. That's going to be all over the place. It is a big deal.
Yeah.
So, wow. So you're doing so many things. So let's get back now. This webinar. Why are these portals? And of course, I would want to see them, but it's not just seeing them. These positive ones. People, what can they expect from that? Would it change someone to go visit some of these places as you've written in your book?
Yes, it would definitely change them if you went and you stayed for, I would say if you planned on going to Sedona and you went to Bell Rock, I would go on the rock early in the morning before it gets hot. Now we're moving into fall, so it's a little cooler there. But a lot of tourists come and they start climbing the rock, and there's lots of noise and yelling and screaming from kids. So I always go out early in the morning when there's hardly anybody there, and I go to a plateau and I meditate for a few hours, right? I literally will stay until I have to pee.
Yeah.
That's what I do. And of course, I have bathrooms down below, but I will try and stay there as long as I can physically stay there, right? Just because the energy is amazing. And I visit all the vortexes there. And when I'm there now, there is a vortex in Sedona that a lot of people, that is a positive and a negative vortex. Now, this is an interdimensional vortex, and where positive and negative things come out of, we'll just say. We'll get into
Okay.
that in the webinar
All right.
as well. And in this same property is where the interdimensional windows, the veil is so thin there. Now, you know how psychic and how sensitive I am. And when I went there the first time, everything in my body told me to turn around and get out of there. And I was doing this during the day. I could see when I was walking down this path, because it's a wash and it's in the middle of nowhere, right? You have to know I do in the book have a guide that can take you there and take you to other places, the Skywatch for UFOs. But the thing is that along the sides are all bushes and big giant trees. I felt everything from those dimensions. I could feel them watching me. It was like there were many, many eyes. And and the interesting thing is, well, I won't go into that. I'm going to save it for the webinar because there's so many unbelievable things that happen at this one location. But and then there are portals everywhere else in a lot of the other places as well that we can talk about. There's vortexes, portals. There's one place that I can talk about that's in North Carolina, where I actually photographed an interdimensional extraterrestrial that does not look like us at all.
So is the area start with an A or an R?
North.
Okay.
Yeah,
You have to think about that. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Coastal. Okay. So north coastal. No, up further. Okay. I got it. All right. I'll have to look. All right. Okay. So interesting, because I saw my first fleet of ships going to Asheville.
Yeah.
And they're in the mountains. And my husband saw them too, and he pointed, and it was like the most nonchalant. It was like, hey, I'm like, yeah, hey, look at that, and they were big, they were right hanging out with us, and it was like the most normal thing. And to me, I mean, I felt so much overwhelming love.
Yes.
I felt at extreme. I was compelled, because people say, "When did you bring your camera?" It wasn't a normal human reaction. Okay. I'm just going to tell you. I was like, wow. And I saw about 4 or 5, and he noticed it first. We were coming over the pier. It was kind of just turned dark, and there were 4 or 5. And then over to the right, there was a huge one by me, and I was talking to it, going, "Hello, friends. I've missed you. I love you. When can I see you?" I mean, this is not a normal reaction, and it was orange and red and glowy. Yeah, and so you can see them everywhere. But it was really weird. I had this most loving. I was depressed for about 4 days, really heavily, because I felt so, I don't know, like family. It felt like family.
Yes, yeah, it does, and a lot of people have that same reaction.
Really? Remorse?
I have heard so many people have similar experiences. I have another friend whose husband, she's in her 70s now, but when her husband was alive, he thought she was a UFO nut. And all of a sudden, she went outside one day, and literally across the street, over the house, right next to a tree, was a ship. And she ran and got her husband, and her husband saw it. And from that day forward, he became a believer, because he just didn't believe in those kinds of things and that type of stuff. And you kind of have to be activated in some way, or want to know about it, or whatever. You have to remember that the government and all of those powers from an early time, they brainwashed us into believing that it wasn't true, even from the onset of Roswell. They hired people like Philip Klass. that went on the air to say, oh, it was a weather balloon. Oh, it was plasma. Oh, it was a sunspot. Oh, it was this. And even when you saw this guy, now, even before I became my spiritual self, I would see this guy on TV and I would just go, oh my God, he's so lying through his teeth. You know, I said, I bet you he's hired by the government. And of course, many years later, he's no longer with us, but he was. And it all came out and that kind of thing. And we have somebody in the know in the documentary who is going to talk about that. So,
cool.
Yes, which I think is, which is very cool. So, so the thing is that everyone gets brainwashed, but now people are becoming unbrainwashed because everyone has a cell phone. Everyone has, there's an energy for things, right? There's an energy for things where different races or people of sexual orientation or whatever were always frowned upon. Now everyone is having their day in the sunlight and in the spotlight. And it's now people are finally realizing that it's not about all those things. We're all the same soul. We're all beautiful. And the Pleiadians have a really great saying. They say, when one is helped, all are helped.
Oh my God, it's so beautiful.
So yeah, it's a simple truth, but look, help somebody. That person helps somebody who helps somebody who helps somebody who helps somebody. Doesn't mean monetarily. It could mean emotionally. It could be if they're going through a hard time, if they're trying to understand this. I will tell you, back in the 80s and 90s, I had UFO parties at my house all the time. I had UFOologists come to my house. They would pop in VHS tapes, and my place would be packed with over 100 people.
Really?
There were so many people that were fascinated with it. And since I've written these books, so many people email me and tell me their wonderful stories, because a lot of people keep it in.
Yeah.
Right, for fear of being ostracized. So
absolutely. Don't you think that, and I do believe what you're saying, really anything, not just UFOs, but for us, paranormal experiences, spiritual experiences, I think with it, we have to be open to that, and then we signal to the universe, hey, I'd like to know more about it. So they deliver
always.
To all right, well, here you go, which is really nice, because it's not putting anything on us that we don't want to know. It's just responding to our spiritual higher self wanting to know things. So I find that a lot of people that are in the creative field, such as yourself, being a film director, casting director, filmmaker, that and an author, I mean, you're just creative in so many ways, I'm creative, went to art school, own an ad agency. Now I got the YouTube. I'm very open-minded, but it seems to it, and actors, they're very open-minded, right? Musicians, that painters, this kind of thing, that that they seem to be, the ETs, ultradimensional, seems to be attracted to those kinds of people, and people that are more open to others and more loving and more open-minded. I think it was President said that they seem to really like people and human rights. And I did that 12 years, totally forgot. But I'm just like all about everybody, just like, free will, and everybody should be the best version of themselves. And because of that, do you find that it's interesting? I never asked you this, but being in the Hollywood community, and you got a lot of creative people, are they more open to this kind of thing? Do you think they have more spiritual experiences, more UFO experiences?
Some, I ask actors, both famous and up and coming, if they were invited to go on a spaceship with incredible galactic beings, would they go? And I would say most of the people say yes, and there's a very small amount that say no because they're a little freaked out about it. But then as I would get to know that celebrity or somebody over the years, they would confide in me. Some of them actually had negative experiences face to face with extraterrestrials.
Okay.
Some saw ships landing in their own backyard because they had giant backyards, of course, being a celebrity. And many things that happened over those times. And, for instance, like the most UFO sightings happen in South America because the people down there are really heart-based. And they really go there. There are so many South American contactees that I have met with and spoken to, and we even have one of the top ones in the documentary talking about, he's been on their ships over 100 times.
Probably the same fellow I saw in Cosmic Disclosure who the Pune people.
Well, that's the Apunians. That's the Apunians. But yes, but the Apunians meet not only with just one contactee, they have many contactees. Right.
Well, I would imagine. Yeah. And would you say, and I'm curious, and this is just off, and then we'll get back onto the webinar because I definitely want people to sign up for this webinar. And if you can't attend December 3rd, you can always see the unlimited replays, and that's for everybody. And you can, watch it again. So this is one of the first things that we're doing. We're making it affordable. I want you to get to know Craig. We're going to have other courses coming up, other activities, because he really is a wealth of information. I also want to connect you to his world so you can buy his books and look at his documentaries, as well as A Stranger at the Pentagon. And he's got this new one coming out in the document. I mean, he just does so much. It's so enlightening and entertaining. But getting back to people they pick out as contactees, they need several people, but they need people to help with this, to be okay with things, I guess the best way you can be okay with things, and to deliver information as well, but to be okay. So when this new Earth, I've been getting, and I could be totally wrong on this. I mean, I could be wrong, hands up, I could be wrong, but I'm feeling like the next 2 or 3 years, something's going to happen that we're going to need people that are waking up to go, it's cool. It's okay. They're going to need these. And you're going to be explaining also in future courses, the Galactic Races course we're going to be doing on human hybrids, but why this is necessary and so forth. Because I know I'm one. I'm not rattled at all. I'd walk right. I mean, because my reaction, I was like so excited. I was thrilled. I wanted to hug them. I was crying. I was gleeful. I was I was in ecstasy, kind of. I was just overjoyed, and I just, it was like an inner knowing, like I knew, and I felt absolutely zero fear. It was just, it's like it's like a weird reaction. Like, why would I have that? And I think that's the people that these ETs, ultra dimensionals, want to communicate with, so we can remove this negative thought process out there in the world.
Yes, absolutely. And in the beginning, in the 50s, these beings like Valiant Thor, Salganda, Orthon, many other beings, they came and they met with their contactees face to face, right? And then what they ended up doing was they started to then download information, helping the starseeds to become more and more spiritual, so that they would then in turn open up more and start to teach about different types of things as well. So a lot of it is done through the sleep state. It's done through downloads. It's done through bringing people up in their astral form onto craft and different things like that. There's been so many cases that are like that. And some of the current contactees, one that we actually have in the film, it was a very hard, long, arduous thing because he lives in a very remote town in Europe. But when his began, he face to face with many different beings that were human looking, but they looked a little off. Right?
I hear you. Yeah.
He was wigged out for a very long time, and it's
Really?
because
Okay.
it's because his belief system was already in a set mode, and now he had to relearn everything. Like for me, when I had my spiritual awakening, there was a point where I hit the belief system wall, and I was like, okay, is this gonna send me into some place that I don't want to go, or should I stay safe in my belief systems and just push it away? And I decided not to push it away and to embrace it. And in doing so, I just grew so much more. I mean, I didn't know it, but in, my first spiritual awakening was in 26. And then in 2014, I had a second one. I didn't even know you could have a second one.
Oh, you can keep going, layers of
it keeps going. But yeah, but it really is. It's like you go from one layer of consciousness to the next, to the next, to the next. And it continually goes. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So
I had no idea. I think we talked about that pre-show about that the rabbit hole goes deep. But a lot of people, I think you're speaking to that that maybe at that point you're talking about
right.
Let's just say in general things we've been taught as humans. So wherever you are from the planet, whether you grew up Catholic, whether you grew up, Hindu, or maybe you didn't at all, but you at least were around other humans. So there was some structure, a belief structure of something.
Right. Yes.
Okay, whatever that is. And because we're human, right? We all have to be from somewhere. I mean, we have experiences just being around family and friends, and whatever that is, it generally ain't ET. So
right.
It's kind of bucking up against as humans that are, as we're humans now here, as we feel as though we are, that it bucks up against that. And, for me, what I've done, because I'm there now, but I was one of those kids that want to know when, how much, when's it going to go? Hey, so I'm more inquisitive. And to me, I feel like that we are divine beings. We're protected always. We're loved. And the thing is, if it's for your highest good, I get excited about adventure and experience. And to me, the more I find out, the more I realize, wow, this is a really big world, and I'm really big, and we're so loved. And why in the world do we have fear and all this weird downtown games when there's a better game? And I'm excited to know that celestials and angels and ultradimensionals are real. I feel like that we got some backup. To me, I get excited, like, wow, it's just bigger than I thought. And
it is bigger.
It's bigger. It doesn't take away what I believe. It's just take away, I believe. Well, it does put it in a different context, but it's more exciting. It's bigger and better than I could ever imagine. So I think it's your decision on how you walk forward with things. I look at it that we're loved. So why not go on this grand adventure? That's why we're here.
That's absolutely true. And I've lived by one thing that I learned early on is you can either learn through pain or joy.
Oh, joy. Definitely.
Right?
I did the pain. It sucks. Yeah. I'm not really interested in that.
Yeah.
That's not pleasant.
No.
You're exactly right. And I think that is where your head, what your decision, how your intent is moving forward is exactly how it's delivered to you. It's just, and it's as simple as, I always say, have beautiful people surround me, and therefore I do, just like you. So look, you're amazing. If you've got an idea that this isn't going to just be your typical 2-hour webinar. No. You're going to get your questions ready.
Yes, definitely have your questions ready. We'll do question and answers at the end. And Of course, if I know the answer or a semblance of my truth from an answer, I will definitely share it with you. That's what life is about. It's about sharing. If something doesn't, I always say to people, if it doesn't sit with you, then don't use it. Right?
Yes.
So, but because, I've been doing this a long time, and there's so many interesting things out there. All I want to do is just share them, and people can, take them for however it moves them. It might change them. It might rearrange them. It might not sit well with them, but
it's true.
It might sit well with them a year from now. Right?
Wow, that is wisdom right there,
Yeah.
Craig. That
Yeah.
actually, I got that. It's
Yeah.
like sometimes spring or summer, I'm going to Sedona, okay, and I'm going to go visit some of these places, and I'm excited. And I don't have any perceived ideas what to expect, except it's going to be wonderful and magical,
Yeah.
whatever that is. And I don't know, it could be, it's always about the journey of self. And so it's not outside of ourselves. All the answers are within ourselves. So I don't know what it'll be, but I know it'll be exciting. I'm not afraid to change and morph. Look, I've had 6 NDEs. I've been dead. I'm back. I'm cool with it all.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's right.
I'm kind of flat and stuff after that. I've been a spirit. That's what spirit people
Absolutely.
like. I'm cool with all that. That's our true state. Is a light
That's
body.
right.
And we don't really die. So how bad does it get?
That's right. That's right.
Well, look, everybody sign up for first of all, you've got to get a personalized book. You can look and see. And, I have mine. I want to make notes in it as you're talking with the Hotspot Compendium. I love the art on it. It's so funny. I don't know if you can see it. Where is it? There it is. It's so funny.
Yeah.
There it is. It's so funny. And so it's the little alien guy's cute. But sign up, get your questions ready. And then after this particular $29 2-hour webinar, and again, you don't have to be there if you're too busy, we're going to be offering a special thing. We're creating it right now on the different galactic races. And this is going to be, fascinating in depth. And I love the fact, Craig, you always work from a positive standpoint, one in love. So you can always be safe. I screen my people to make sure it's positive and loving. And Craig is very knowledgeable, but he always comes from a way of explaining things in that way. So rest assured you're in great hands with him and me. So sign up, and we will see you December 3rd, and it will be a live webinar. So go ahead and sign up. And thank you so much, Craig.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And we'll see you on Saturday, December 3rd.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Please subscribe, like, and make comments, and support this channel by becoming a member. Thank you for your continued support.